Tom, I do not want this episode to end without asking Mike about community banks. You and me talked about this a little, Mike, and I think a lot of people might be thinking like, how do you get that far? Just how do you get this far? And you worked with a couple of community banks. What's important to somebody that's starting off or early on around community banks and building that relationship? Or what's something you did or something you do differently if you had to do it again? Kind of give us a rundown on that part.
I think that there was a huge opportunity and still is, the last 5 years with community banks. Community banks right now are sitting on historic amounts of deposits that, they are looking for investors like us to lend to. And what we tried to do with our portfolio was, there's variables, there's vacancy, there's property taxes, there's repairs, and then there's financing. And financing is a big variable that, 0.5% or 1% move up could really hurt your cash flow. So, we found these community banks that, lend over 25 years. They have caps on their rates. I mean, who would think that we're getting commercial financing at 4% right now? Like when I bought my first house with my wife in 2008, I hope she's not listening. It might have been 2006. I remember my family telling me I would be crazy if I didn't lock in at 6.5%. So, what I want to encourage others right now is even if you're not seeing maybe the pricing exactly where you want to be for rental property right now, look at that financing side too. And if you can lock in those rates long term, there's, those rates are going to go away here in the next year or two. And we're going to look back on these as that was just as big of an opportunity as the pricing over the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. So I agree wholeheartedly there. The one thing I wrestle with dealing with like this commercial financing is a lot of times you get locked in, especially single family homes, 5-year, 7-year, like finding the community bank that actually lock you in for the long term, because to the point you just said, like this deal works at 4%. Does it work at 6?
Exactly. So, when you look at our spreadsheet, almost all of our loans expire in the 2040s. So, some of these banks, they will adjust after 5-7 years, but, they may have a cap of only adjusting 0.5% or over the life of the loan, maybe 2%. So, find those community banks that you can develop relationships with. The other thing on this, even when we started and only had, say, 4 rentals in our portfolio, your year-end reports that you're giving those community banks are really important. Give them the information before you're going for that loan. Ask these community banks if they have, commitment letters that they can give you for the year. So they write down all of those terms and say, hey, we can do these loans at this loan to value at this percentage so that, you're not coming to them after you have the deal questioning, how they can finance it. You're able to put in hard numbers for it.